Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today for this very special occasion, a true representation of strong EU-Armenia relations. The EU-Armenia Friendship Group was first established on the 9th of January 2013 and was a pioneering initiative developed between the mission of Armenia to the European Union, Dr. ΕΛΕΝΗ ÞΕΟΧΑΡΟΥS, Member of European Parliament for Cyprus and her team, myself and the European Armenian Federation of Justice and Democracy, with the sole aim of deepening relations between members of this House and their Armenian counterparts. Since its creation, the group has been very successful in this goal. It has acted as a body which has facilitated trips to Armenia and also to Nagorno-Karabakh. Members from this body have used it to organize events in order to raise the awareness of Armenia in the European Parliament, and the group has played host on a number of occasions as a friendly, welcoming face to visiting Armenian officials and delegations. We are now here today to officially relaunch the EU-Armenia Friendship Group in this new 8th legislature of the European Parliament. The year 2015 is a very important year for Armenia, as it marks the 100-year anniversary of the Armenian genocide. Having this in mind, this relaunch is not only of great importance, but of great historical significance. I would now like to invite a woman who really needs no introduction, but I'm going to give her one. Her name is ΕΛΕΝΗ ΘΕΟΧΑΡΟΥS. She is the president of the EU-Armenia Friendship Group, and she's one of the most dedicated individuals to the Armenian cause. So, Dr. ΘΕΟΧΑΡΟΥS, please take the stage.
Your Excellency, the Ambassador of Armenia, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, dear Frank Enkel, Mr. Tanok, Mr. Kirkos, and the representative of Madame Rivasi, who are all the deputy presidents of this friendship group, the vice presidents. We are launching today the European Union Armenia Friendship Group in the European Parliament for the term 2014-2019. We feel very proud to have you all here participating in this important event, which marks a new effort in presenting to the people of the European Union the Armenian civilization through the ages. The great and continuous struggle of the Armenians for their nation, their religion, their freedom, their dignity, and their self-determination. The great achievements of the modern Armenian state, which has suffered great turbulence in the recent years, being an isolated country in the rocky Caucasus area. Dear friends, modern Armenia is a wonderful nation, and although it is just recovering from the disastrous Soviet era, it has its own important place in the modern world, and it has the ambition of becoming an outstanding partner, sharing the values and principles of the European Union edifice. During the last term, we had a very productive participation, presenting into the European Parliament the history, the culture, the philosophy, and the art of the Armenian people. We organized a very big series of events in the European Parliament which had a very big success. We have organized bilateral visits and seminars. We have arranged the exchange of academics and knowledge between universities. We have observed the election in Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh. We also had the opportunity to meet with Armenian politicians of the highest level, including the President of the Republic, the Prime Minister, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the Speaker of the National Assembly of the Republic of Armenia. It was also a great pleasure for us of all of us to welcome here in the European Parliament the President of the Parliament for the 20th anniversary of the independence of Artsakh. I think it was the President of Artsakh as well who visited us. Ladies and gentlemen, 2015 marks the centennial of the genocide of the Young Turks against the Armenian of Asia Minor, the Western Armenia for the Armenians. We are preparing to pay tribute to this event with our participation in ceremonies both in Armenia and in the Parliament. In addition, we are planning to monitor the election in Nagorno-Karabakh. You are all invited to participate. We are looking forward to having you in Armenia for these events and, of course, in Nagorno-Karabakh to monitor the election. Furthermore, I took the initiative to organize in Yerevan an event of high international importance with the aim of to raise the Armenian civilization at the position it merits to be in the global society. We are going to deal with the manuscripts known as the Echmiadin Gospels, which are exhibited at the Mastrot Institute of Ancient Manuscripts in Yerevan. We are planning to organize a very prestigious event with the participation of famous persons, the director of the Metropolitan Museum of Metropolitan Museum of New York and other distinguished personalities, and with the participation of experts on the issue in order to show to the Europeans and the international community how important the Armenian civilization is. This civilization does not only belong to the Armenians, but to the entire world, to humanity. Dear friends, spring is endless and magnificent up on the slopes of Caucasus. I have the experience of these springs for many, many, many consecutive years. Come and join us to a place where the miracle still exists. As the Nobel Award Greek poet Seferis says, every free spirit around the earth is a citizen of Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh. Never forget that. Thank you so much, and we are looking forward to your support in order to have a very productive events during the coming term. I don't know what is the next point.
Maybe ambassador.
Also, we would now like to invite His Excellency Mr. Tatul Markaryan, the Armenian ambassador to the Kingdom of Belgium and the head of mission to the EU, to take the stage.
Thank you.
Dear Ms. ÞΕΟΧΑΡΟΥΣ, distinguished members of the European Parliament, Mr. Tamek, Mr. Engel, and dear all whom I don't know yet, I was glad to be introduced to new members of the European Parliament whom I don't know yet, which is a good sign by itself. Since the presence of the old members shows kind of sustainability in their commitment, but also to see the new ones who, come forward to commit themselves to these great relations that we have with the European Union is a great sign. Dear friends, I'm glad and congratulate all of you for having this great initiative relaunched again, since all these efforts serve one important purpose, is to promote further Armenia-EU relations and, of course, the interparliamentary relations we have between the European Parliament on one side and the Armenia's Parliament on the other. From our side, from the embassy, I can inform you that we've been tirelessly trying to bring our relations to the proper level, and I have great news to share with you that after a series of scoping exercises or informal negotiations that we've had with the Commission, we've had recently European Council Armenia Foreign Ministry Cooperation Council meeting, and as a result of it, if you've seen the press release put forward by the Council, you would see that it simply says, the headline is the following: the Council meeting, good progress towards deepened relations. So, as you see, we came to you today not with an empty hands, but we want to, share this great news with you and say that you can be proud about, what you are promoting. You're promoting Armenia, your relations, and we do everything that you really, when going to the floor, felt pride about what you do. Of course, what you do based on the shared values and the principles that govern this important pan-European body. We never, as Armenians, we never ask our friends in different venues, different important structures, international venues, to distort the truth, the reality about Armenia or about our cause. And we are glad that based on the same shared values and principles, we hand in hand can promote our relations. We have a full agenda ahead towards the Riga summit, not only to manage to revise the legal basis that govern the relations between the EU and Armenia, but also to come up with new initiatives such as the scientific one, the transportation one, the one that brings Armenia and the EU into the same aviation space. Lots of very interesting and important vital initiatives that will be concluded very soon. However, it's extremely important to have you to help us to amplify Armenia's voice in this extremely important pan-European body, and also beyond its walls, in Brussels and elsewhere. Since it's always important to have friends in the European Parliament that will help us to understand better and help us to be understood better. And that's exactly, in very general terms, how we understand your very important mission. And I'm sure you'll be very successful in that. Once more, I want to thank our dear friend ΕΛΕΝΗΣ for her tireless efforts. She and her colleagues, the members of the European Parliament, you, bring such a passion and energy into this endeavor that I'm sure we will succeed in taking our relations to another level. I want to thank each and everyone for being present today. I want to particularly thank our advocacy groups for their tireless and sustained efforts. And all of us together, I'm sure we will succeed. Thank you once more, and all the best.
And finally, I would like to give the stage to Mr. Gaspar Garambetian, the Director of the European Armenian Federation for Justice and Democracy.
Your Excellency, Ambassador of the Republic of Armenia, honorable members of the European Parliament, ladies and gentlemen. The 9th of January 2013 was an historic date for us, the Armenians, since on that day it was launched for the first time the EU-Armenia Friendship Group in the European Parliament, chaired by MEP Dr. ΕΛΕΝΗΣ ΘΕΟΧΑΡΟΥΣ, and in the presence of the Speaker of the Armenian National Assembly, Mr. Hovig Abrahamyan, who actually is the Prime Minister of Armenia. As mentions Dr. Theocharous in her invitation to her colleagues, the Friendship Group during the last legislative period played an important role in establishing ties with the Armenian counterparts, in organizing various events in the European Parliament, in organizing visits in Armenia, thus understanding better the reality of today, and facilitated in many cases the better understanding between EU and Armenia. The European values and ideas are for us, the Armenian people, of great importance. Armenia had accomplished all the necessary criteria to sign in Vilnius in 2013 the Association Agreement and the DCFTA. But on the 3rd of September 2013, the President of Armenia declared that the country would join at the, at that time, customs union led by Russia. Although by the European side at the early stages of this decision was adopted a critical position against Armenia, very soon it became very obvious for all of us why Armenia decided to join the Eurasian Economic Union. Today, we as European citizens also are glad to see that the EU and Armenia have started talks to prepare and sign a new form of association agreement which will lead Armenia to implement all the required reforms to reach the level of the European standards. This year is the centennial of the Armenian genocide perpetrated by Ottoman Turkey in 1915. It should be a great opportunity for Turkey, a candidate country to the EU, to prove its commitment to accept the European values of human rights and justice, acknowledging its past by recognizing the genocide and bearing the consequences. On the contrary, Turkey continues its denial policy, imposes a blockade on Armenia by keeping closed the borders, provokes the Armenians and the Republic of Armenia by cynical declarations of its leaders, and this year, suddenly, Turkey decides to change the date of the commemoration of the Battle of Gallipoli to the 24th of April, inviting world leaders to participate to the events on that specific date. The reason is obvious: prevent all those leaders attending the genocide centennial commemoration at Zernagapert in Yerevan on the same date. But we believe that the international community leaders will give the appropriate answer to Turkey and arrive to Yerevan and lay a wreath at the memorial of the 1,500,000 innocent victims of that crime against humanity. Concluding my salutatory speech, I would like, on behalf of the European Armenian Federation for Justice and Democracy and all our members all over Europe, to thank Ms. MEP Dr. ÞΕΟΧΑΡΟΥΣ for their initiative to relaunch the friendship group, and to express our gratitude to all of you honorable members of the European Parliament present today, but also to all those of your colleagues who for various reasons could not attend the ceremony, and assure you that we are always ready to stand by the friendship group and to assist you with your initiatives whenever this is needed. Have a successful course friendship group. Thank you.
Could we invite you to a family photograph? Of course. Any other members who wish to join us at the party? Invite the members here. Do you want to join us? Frank? Yes.